and respected members of the audience. I would first like to thank the Center for Informal Sector and Labour Studies for giving me the opportunity to come here and speak before you. I represent the women's movement, and as you must have discussed in the last 2 days, the different impact of the neoliberal policies on different sections of the people. I'm sure you're all aware that the neoliberal policies, the first thing that they do is to try and restrict facilities for the general mass of the people. It talks of imposition of austerity measures. It talks of cutting of subsidies for the poor, of reducing public spending on health, welfare, education, and all other sections. So, as part of the entire economic policy of this government for the last many years, the neoliberal policies have impacted extremely adversely on everybody and especially women. Now, when you talk of women, actually women are there everywhere. It's not just women as women. There are women farmers, there are women workers, there are women homemakers, as we use the term nowadays, and so there are women everywhere. And the neoliberal policies have impacted on all these sections, generally, and much worse on women. I will not go into all those details because of lack of time, but I will concentrate on a few things that the women's movement has been raising very strongly. Two major things that we have seen is, one is where women are concerned, is one is the food security issue and the issue of work. These two sections have been most adversely affected. Now, we have seen how the farmers have been agitating for the last few years in our country, and women have been participating in very large numbers. In fact, that long march that we had in Maharashtra from Nasik to Mumbai, there were more than 10,000 women participating. A large number of them were AIDWA members. But they participated because they knew that, and everywhere they are participating because they know that it is only through struggles now that we can protect whatever minimum we have today. Now, when you come to the issue of work, I'm not elaborating because I think Rajaramji will be taking that up. But women today in the rural areas have no work. And the agricultural sector has shrunk, that it is not viable. On the other hand, mechanization has taken place, that has also robbed women of their work. And so you find a very large section of women are today into the most insecure conditions, leading scores of people going elsewhere in the towns, migrating for long periods of time. Now, a migrated family has absolutely no cover, in the sense it's not recognized, there are no protective laws, and there is no proper remuneration, and they have to work according to the whims and fancies of the contractor who takes them. What has the women's movement done? The women's movement tries to organize these migrated families. We have taken up the issue of registration of families who migrate. They should be registered at the tehsil level, at the local level, and given recognition as workers. You know, there have been instances, there have been families who go work in brick kilns. And how much do they get for one brick that they prepare? It's some paisa, yes. It's 30 paisa, 25 paisa per brick.
300 rupees per 1,000 bricks.
Yeah,
so that's
about
33, 35
around. I know. But it is not uniform. It's not uniform. See, you know, for example, there was some contractor, he pays money. He pays money to the family to survive, and that family becomes a bonded labor of that contractor. So whether he is giving 30 or 33 paisa or 20 paisa, that family has to go. So it's a kind of a bonded labor that is emerging in many parts. There have been families who never used to migrate before are even migrating now. So the registration of families, and more so of women, because they take women in different areas, like for example in the construction sector. Then you have women going along with their families for fishing. People die in Porbandar. Many families go there for fishing, 2 months, 6 months. They drown and there is absolutely no redressal. Many of the times they do not get back even the body. So they just are missing, invisible. So registration, that is what we take up, and protection from these contractors to some extent. Second part in work, if you see, in the rural areas at present, women are searching for work. So they are going into anything that's available. And at present, though they come under the unorganized sector, they are still a little bit organized, like the Anganwadi workers, the Asha workers, the midday meal scheme workers. Actually today, the government has become the biggest contractor, and they are using the cheap labor of women to run their different schemes. Now Asha worker, there is no remuneration. The Asha worker spends from her own house the money. The labor is one part. Free labor. It's not free labor. It's not just free. She's giving free, but she's spending the money from the house to take the woman for, say, for medical purposes, for a delivery, all that. And she's not getting the money back in return. Now, to reach medical facilities, if you read the Asha worker documents, it says the government is doing something very, उसको क्या बोलते हैं, बहुत उद्धार कर रहे हैं, उद्धार को क्या कहेंगे? Benevolent, yeah, very benevolent. It's feeling a lot of concern for the rural poor and all that. So it has to reach medical facilities, health facilities to them, to every doorstep. And the way is what? Put an Asha worker. Don't put a doctor in the PHC, don't supply medicines, put an Asha worker. So the women's movement has been participating in these struggles. For example, in this Anganwadi, if you see, there the this THR they are promoting. The Supreme Court has said cooked meals should be given, but they are giving packets which even the cows and the goats do not eat that. If you see the quality of the take-home rations of the Anganwadis, it's horrible. So there we intervene. Now, because of the intervention of the trade union movement and to a large extent of the women's movement in coordination with the Working Women's Coordination Committee, we find that to some extent the Asha workers have been able to get some remuneration, some protection of certain laws, and the Anganwadis, they have not been able to close down. Their plan is to close down the Anganwadis, finally, eventually privatize them, but they have not been able to do it to a certain extent. The question of food today is the biggest casualty. And we know today, actually, India houses the largest number of malnutrition people, and malnutrition death rate is the highest in our country today. The government is hell-bent on closing down the PDS. It began, the PDS, the public distribution system existed. It went towards the revamped public distribution system. From there it went to targeted public distribution system, and now it has come to priority families and general families. That means continuously attempts have been made to shrink the number of beneficiaries. Now, one success of the women's movement has been is that they have not been able to totally close down the public distribution system. Continuous struggles and continuous raising of voices has prevented that thing from happening. They want to do it. You will be surprised, the secretary of the Food and Civil Supplies Minister of Maharashtra, when we went and met him, his absolutely insensitive remark was that the poor are producing so many children, it is not our duty to feed all these mouths. I mean, so insensitive at a time when half your country is sleeping hungry, you know. So the neoliberal outlook of this government, totally selling out all sector, has even reached to where even basic human rights are being denied. Now, they have linked the food public distribution system to the Aadhaar. Then they have also linked it to those biometric machines, which do not identify. I do not know how many of your thumbs also will be identified. So somebody, yes, I know of a lady who is a professor. I want to name her. Now, professors do not have very rough hands, actually, okay, like the one who works in the rural Manrega. Even the professor's thumb couldn't be recognized by the biometrics. So I said, how can a worker who has worked in the Manrega, her thumb will never be recognized. So, you know, we have taken up struggles where we have said that we do not recognize the biometric machine. What we have to do is to supply the grains. Wherever the movement has been there the grains have been supplied. Now I'm just coming from Rajasthan. The Rajasthan in Dungarpur, it's a tribal area. There, because of the movement, the government is stuck because they've taken the policy. So they are saying, now what can we do? How can we say no? We have to do something. So the tehsildar over there, the collector over there, has taken out via media something with money. They tried it in Pondicherry. They failed and they've withdrawn. From Pondicherry, they are still doing it on pilot basis in different states. In Delhi, they've started in 1 or 2 places. In Maharashtra, they've started in 1 or 2 places. So, replacing food grains with money will not help the poor, and it will increase malnutrition and hunger. And that's what we will see much worse situation. The whole question of subsidies generally, as you see also in the gas cylinders now, you find the Prime Minister's, placard, hoardings in all the petrol pumps in the country, everywhere across the board, and 5 crore women have been benefited and all that. It's total rubbish. No woman has really benefited. AIDWA has gone down to the ground level. We are identifying these women. 1 gas cylinder and 1 stove has been given, and that also at that point of time they have not taken the money, but the family that gets the subsidy, because in gas cylinders they have introduced the direct cash subsidy, and there that cash subsidy which that woman is supposed to get, she will not get it till the company recovers the amount required for that stove and that first gas cylinder. That could be 3,000 rupees, 3,500 rupees, whatever. So she will not get her subsidy till that money is recovered. That means it's not free. And secondly, the refill she goes to take is 1,000 rupees. So they are all of them back to wood or kerosene or whatever that, gobar ka ye banate hain. They are all back to that. But the hoardings all over the country are still being put up. This has to be exposed. That's what we are trying to do it. And there is a lot of anger amongst the women because they feel terribly cheated. It's terribly cheated, and terribly let down. So